Have you ever wondered what truly happens in a man's mind when you walk away? Not after a fight, not with a dramatic exit, but with silence. A silence so complete, it becomes a presence. It is a void where you used to be. Most women believe he simply moves on, or that he feels a brief sting of rejection. The reality is far deeper, far more primal. His entire psyche, the very architecture of his inner world, is thrown into a state of profound crisis. It is not just your absence he feels. It is the sudden, terrifying absence of a mirror he did not even know he was looking into. When you disappear without a word, the first casualty is his ego. The ego, that fragile fortress of identity, is built on predictability and control. You are a known quantity, a reliable source of energy, attention, or validation. Your presence, even a negative one, affirmed his place in the world. Your silence does not just remove you from his story, it rips the page out. It communicates a powerful truth he is not prepared to hear: you are not an object in his reality. You are the protagonist of your own. This lack of explanation is what tortures him. An argument he can understand. A reason he can debate. But silence offers no purchase for his logic. It is a smooth, impenetrable wall. His ego scrambles, searching for a narrative. Did he do something wrong? Is there someone else? The not knowing is a form of psychological torment, forcing him to confront a powerlessness he actively represses every single day. He is no longer the author of this chapter, and this loss of control is the ego's greatest fear. This initial shock quickly gives way to a more complex process, the collapse of his projection. In Jungian psychology, we understand that much of what a man feels for a woman is not for the woman herself, but for the projection of his own unconscious feminine side, his anima. He sees in her the soul, the mystery, the emotional depth he lacks or denies in himself. You became a screen upon which he played the movie of his own inner world. He wasn't seeing you, he was seeing his own potential for wholeness, his own salvation, his own idealized feminine. When you are there, this illusion can be maintained. He can continue to believe you are the embodiment of his needs. But your silence cuts the power to the projector. The screen goes blank. For the first time, he is forced to see the reality of the situation. He sees the space you occupied, and he feels the raw, unnerving truth that the feelings he had were not entirely for you. They were for the image he created of you. This is a devastating revelation. It means the connection he thought was so real was, in large part, a construct of his own mind. Your absence doesn't just leave a hole in his life, it leaves a hole in his very self. He is now alone with his own anima, this powerful, internal feminine energy, with no one to project it onto. The goddess he worshipped has left the temple, and he is left staring at the empty altar, forced to question if she was ever really there at all. This void you leave behind is not empty for long. The human psyche abhors a vacuum. Into this space rushes his shadow. The shadow, as Carl Jung described, is the repository of everything a person denies about themselves. It holds their insecurities, their repressed fears, their greed, their anger, their shame. While you were present, your light, or the light he projected onto you, kept his shadow at bay. You were a distraction, a convenient scapegoat, or a source of comfort that allowed him to avoid looking into his own darkness. Now, with you gone, there is nowhere left to run. The silence amplifies the whispers from his own abyss. The insecurity that he is not good enough, which he soothed with your attention, now screams at him. The fear of abandonment he has carried since childhood, which was quieted by your presence, now becomes a roaring monster. He is forced into a confrontation he has spent his entire life avoiding. Do you see? Your disappearance is not just an external event for him. It is a catalyst for an internal war. He must now wrestle with the parts of himself he has disowned. He might try to project this shadow onto you, casting you as the villain, the cruel one, the manipulator. This is his ego's desperate attempt to avoid self-reflection. But in the quiet hours of the night, when the silence is loudest, he knows. He knows the demons he is facing are his own. This confrontation with the shadow is the critical turning point. It is a journey into the underworld of his own soul. He will cycle through a storm of chaotic emotions. First comes anger, or raw, primal rage. It is the ego's defense mechanism. How dare she do this to me? This anger is a shield, protecting him from the more painful emotion underneath, fear. The fear is profound. It's not just the fear of losing you, it's the fear that he is fundamentally unlovable, that he is destined to be alone. He may lash out, sending aggressive texts, trying to provoke a response, any response, to prove he still has an effect on you. Any reaction from you, even a negative one, would be a relief. It would pull him out of the silent torment and back into a familiar dynamic of conflict. But you give him nothing. Your silence is a mirror, reflecting his own chaos back at him. As the anger subsides, a desperate bargaining may begin. The frantic calls, the promises to change, the sudden flood of affection. He is not trying to win you back so much as he is trying to restore his own inner equilibrium. He is trying to put the ghost back in the machine. He needs to prove to himself that he can undo this, that he still holds the power to summon you. Your continued silence denies him this. It teaches him a brutal Stoic lesson, one Epictetus would recognize: he has no control over the actions of others. He only has control over his own response. And right now, his response is panic. What you must understand is that your silence is an act of profound self-respect. It is not a tactic, it is a boundary. You are not punishing him. You are protecting yourself. This is the wisdom of the Stoics. As Seneca wrote, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. You have chosen to step out of the chaotic imagination of the relationship, to deal only with the reality of your own inner state. You are building what Marcus Aurelius called your inner citadel. A fortress of tranquility within yourself that cannot be breached by the chaos of others. While he is lost in the storm of his ego and shadow, you are in the calm eye of it. You have ceased to participate in the drama. This withdrawal of your energy is the most powerful move a woman can make. It is a declaration that your peace is more valuable than his presence. You have stopped seeking validation from an external source and have begun to cultivate it from within. You are no longer waiting for him to give you permission to be happy or to feel worthy. You have taken that power back. This is not passive, it is an active, courageous choice. It is the beginning of your own process of individuation, the journey of becoming a whole, integrated individual, independent of the projections and expectations of others. His psyche registers this shift on an unconscious level. He feels not just your physical absence, but your energetic absence. The umbilical cord of his emotional dependence has been cut. This is why his reactions are so extreme. It is a primal fear of starvation. He was feeding on your energy, your attention, your emotional labor. Now, his supply is gone. He is forced to find a source of sustenance within himself, a task for which he may be completely unprepared. He is like a man who has lived on borrowed light and is suddenly forced to generate his own. This is where he faces his ultimate choice. Does he do the hard work of building his own fire, or does he desperately seek another flame to steal warmth from? His mind will present him with two paths. The first is the path of least resistance, escape. He will try to fill the void you left with distractions. Other women, work, drinking, anything to numb the disquiet in his soul. He will seek out a new woman, one who will accept his projections, one who will become the new screen for his inner movie. If he takes this path, he learns nothing. He will simply repeat the same pattern, the same dynamic, ensuring his own arrested development. The cycle of projection and disappointment will continue, and he will remain a prisoner of his own unexamined psyche, forever blaming external forces for his internal emptiness. The second path is the path of courage. It is the path of introspection. It is terrifying, and few men choose it. On this path, he stops asking, "Why did she leave me?" and starts asking, "What in me caused her to leave?" This is the beginning of true shadow work. He must turn inward and face the uncomfortable truths he has been avoiding. He must acknowledge his own emotional immaturity, his need for control, his fear of true intimacy. He has to admit that he did not see you, the real you. He only saw what he needed you to be. This is an excruciating process. It involves dismantling the ego he has so carefully constructed. It is a kind of psychological death. He must let the man he thought he was die, in order to allow a more authentic self to be born. It is a journey he must take alone, in the silence you created. Your absence is the sacred space in which this transformation can occur. You are not there to soothe him, to rescue him, or to validate his fragile ego. You have, by disappearing, become the unlikely catalyst for his potential growth. You have given him the harsh, but necessary, gift of himself. As he wrestles with his demons, a strange thing happens. He begins to see you for the first time. Not as an object, not as a projection of his anima, but as a separate, whole human being. He remembers conversations he dismissed, moments of your strength he overlooked, times you expressed a need that he ignored. Your silence forces him to replay the tape, but this time, he is listening. He begins to develop a sense of respect for you that was impossible when he saw you as an extension of himself. He respects the strength it took for you to walk away. He respects the boundary you enforced. This newfound respect is a sign that he is integrating his shadow. He is taking responsibility for his part in the dynamic. He is moving from a state of childish blame to one of adult accountability. This does not guarantee he will try to come back. And if he does, it does not guarantee he is a changed man. But it is the only possible path toward genuine change. The man who goes through this fire is not the same man you left. He is quieter, more thoughtful, more humble. He has been humbled by the encounter with his own unconscious, a journey prompted by your powerful, silent departure. Meanwhile, what of your journey? While he is in the crucible of his own making, you are experiencing a rebirth. The initial pain of letting go has transformed into a profound sense of peace. You have discovered that the silence is not empty, it is full. It is full of your own thoughts, your own dreams, your own rediscovered self. You have reconnected with the woman you were before him, the woman who did not need his validation to feel complete. You are practicing the stoic art of detachment, not as a cold indifference, but as a warm, loving acceptance of what is. You accept that you cannot control him, but you can, and will, control your own inner peace. You realize that your worth is not a fluctuating stock to be traded on the market of his approval. It is a foundational truth, an intrinsic quality that cannot be diminished by anyone's opinion or presence. This is the essence of emotional freedom. It is the understanding that you are the source of your own love, your own security, your own happiness. You are no longer looking for a man to complete you, because you now understand that you were never broken. You were simply a whole person who had temporarily forgotten her own power. This journey changes you fundamentally. You begin to operate from a place of fullness, not from a place of lack. Your energy is different. It is calm, centered, and self-assured. This is an incredibly attractive state, not in a superficial sense, but in a deep, resonant way. It is the energy of a woman who knows herself, who has faced her own shadows, and who has chosen to live authentically. You no longer tolerate emotional inconsistency or a lack of respect, not because you are angry, but because your inner peace has become too precious to sacrifice. Your boundaries are no longer walls you put up in anger, they are the natural perimeter of your self-respect. You have learned the ultimate lesson: the person who is willing to walk away holds all the power. But it is not a power over another person. It is the power over yourself. It is the power to choose your own reality, to define your own worth, and to walk away from anything that does not honor the sacred space of your soul. You have moved beyond the game of attraction and into the realm of spiritual sovereignty. You are no longer a participant in his psychological drama. You are the serene, observant author of your own epic life. If he does choose the path of growth and decides to return, he will not find the same woman he left. He will find a queen ruling her own inner kingdom. He will approach with a reverence that was absent before, because he now understands the value of what he lost. He will have to earn his place in your world, not with empty promises, but with demonstrated change and genuine respect. He will have to prove that he has done his own work, that he has faced his own shadow, and that he is ready to meet you as an equal, as a whole person meeting another whole person. But his return is no longer the point. It is not the prize at the end of your journey. The prize is the woman you have become in the process. The peace you have cultivated, the self-love you have nurtured, the strength you have reclaimed, that is the victory. You have learned that the greatest love story is not the one you have with someone else, but the one you have with yourself. You have completed your own journey of individuation, triggered by the brave act of choosing yourself over a connection that diminished you. You have come home to your own soul. This transformation is the final, beautiful paradox. The act of disappearing from his life was the very thing that allowed you to become more present in your own. You did not leave to teach him a lesson. You left to teach yourself one. A lesson in worth, in dignity, and in the unshakable power of a woman who knows her own value. You have learned to find solace not in the noise of his attention, but in the profound, empowering symphony of your own sacred silence. This is the place from which all your power flows, the quiet center of your being. You have walked through the fire of attachment and emerged not hardened, but whole. The need for external validation has turned to ash, and from it has risen the phoenix of your authentic self. You are no longer defined by his presence or his absence, because your identity is forged in the unbreakable steel of your own self-knowledge. The emotional games of chase and pursuit seem trivial now, the concerns of a past self you no longer recognize. You have ascended to a higher plane of being, one governed by inner peace and sovereign choice. The woman who knows her worth doesn't chase, she chooses.